Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We're doing a video kind of different today. I had originally recorded a video, which is what you're seeing here. We're going to unbox the theme selections, the little gift boxes for the Vegeta and Goku reprints, and we have our really cool card sleeves specifically for our Dragon Ball videos. But I wanted to re-record this audio because if you're a fan of the channel, you notice that we've kind of been gone for about 4 weeks now. And I don't want to get too into why I've been gone, but I will let you all know that I had a family member pass away, which is kind of like why the videos were so staggered. And I mean, I just didn't have time within the past month or so to upload because it was my grandfather who passed, and my grandmother needed help with her finances and the bills. I mean, everything was in my grandfather's name. I guess to put it simply, so I can just get into the point of this video, I was made the executor of the estate, quote unquote. On top of having to work and try to keep up with this YouTube channel and everything else I had going on in my life, it was very stressful. It felt like I didn't really have time to mourn. But I got through it. I kind of want this video to be more about how I came out on the other end, because this was a lesson that I had learned a long time ago in my early 20s. It was, like actionable next steps that I took during this process to kind of like make my life more manageable and the emotions I was feeling at that time a little bit more. I know that like in the world we live in today, everyone's going through a lot of hard times, and so I just really wanted to kind of like share this advice. So I guess like the way to explain it is what I did was, let me back up actually. When I first started working for the marketing firm that I worked for previously, I've talked a little bit about it on the channel. I was hired by the CEO, we'll call her Beth. Beth was a really big fan of my work, and that was why she hired me. And when we got to know each other a bit better, she noticed that I had this like rise and grind mentality, working like 60-hour work weeks, you gotta want it, you gotta sweat for it, stuff like that. And she was not a fan of that. And so she called me into her office and she sat me down and she was like, "Hey, Nikki, have you read the policy handbook?" And I was like, "Yeah," I lied. It was like a 14-page handbook. I just signed it and I turned it back into HR. And she was like, "So then you know about our paid leave policy." And the paid leave policy was that you have to take a minimal of 1 consecutive week, so like 5 consecutive days, within 6 months of your new paid leave time being issued. And she was like, "Why do you think that is?" I thought it was for like budgetary purposes or something. I don't know, maybe it was like prepaid. But she explained that when she founded the marketing firm 20 years prior to when I got there, they did research on like every little thing that went into the company. Everything from like what walls were painted what color to like how the building was going to be designed to all the different rules that they had. And she explained that some of the research they came across showed that when you as like, I don't know, I guess like as an employer, just like as a person with responsibilities, when you take time away from those responsibilities, what ends up happening is a net increase in your productivity. And she was like, she went into like the research and the science, and afterwards she was like, how does that make you feel hearing that? Like, how do you interpret that? And I was like, I don't know. I guess it just means that like I need to take my paid leave. And she was like, "Yeah, but like, why do you need to take your paid leave? Like, what is the result?" And I was like, "Being more productive for the company." And she was like, "Sure, absolutely. But like, why? Why does it make you more productive?" And she went into saying that she believes the science shows that when you take the time to actually take care of yourself, you, I guess more or less, can become a better functioning human being. I'm sorry, I'm doing this without a script. I'm kind of just like rambling. But she believed that what the science showed is that when people take the time to care about themselves, they can come back a more productive version of themselves, or a better version of themselves prior to taking care of themselves. And the people who don't take the time to care for themselves are the ones who, I guess, like, the results in their work end up lacking something to be desired, because they're burnt out all of the time, and it's all they know. So when I was made executor of the estate, what I did was something that I did a long time ago when my life was, like, also very complicated, which is I had to actually sit down, because I had so much going on in my life. I had to actually sit down and I had to put on paper, I had to schedule the time that I was going to take for myself. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to, you know? I had to help my grandmother. I had to help the rest of my family with, like, the funeral, and it was exhausting, and it was very intimidating. I mean, when I saw the amount of paperwork that went into my grandfather's finances and his debt and his assets, it felt like I was never going to really get through it, you know, and just juggling that on top of, like, work and everything else. And so I did what I did a long time ago. I did what Beth taught me, and I sat down and I put on paper, you know, when I was going to take that time for myself. And then I had to actually commit to it. And so the way this works, and again, this is what I want you to take away, like, actionable next steps, like, ways that you can take care of yourself. And just the fact that, like, it is going to have, like, a net benefit, not only in, like, your levels of productivity, but I believe your quality of life, because that's how it's worked for me. And that's why I'm making this video, and I want to share it with you. So a long time ago, when my wife and I were, like, building our home, the home that we live in, it was built, but we, had to lay the flooring and paint everything and build all the furniture. We built a lot of the furniture that's in here. And I was doing that while working under Beth, and I was working, like, 60-hour work weeks, and the home that we were living in, that we were building up, was an hour drive. And so on top of, like, working Saturdays and Sundays, I'm having to, like, drive an hour to, like, do manual labor so that my wife and I have this beautiful home that we can live in. And it was, like, really exhausting because I didn't have any time to myself. And so Beth was the one who taught me this when I was sort of, like, explaining to her how hectic my life was at that time. And she was like, oh yeah, if you have a day planner. I did have a physical day planner, and she was like, this is what I used to do when I was your age and I got overwhelmed. And so what I did was I set the time to be 8 p.m. every single night. So I had from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. to do whatever it is that I wanted. And so I needed to make sure that, like, all of my work responsibilities and all of my personal responsibilities were taken care of by that time. And the way that I did that was just, like, being cognizant of the fact that, you know, I need to quit work at 5 or 6 o'clock at the latest. I was living with my grandparents at the time, get dinner ready for my grandparents, get my workout in, like, really quickly, and then by 8 o'clock I'm, like, showered, I'm in bed, and I use that 2 hours to do whatever I want, you know, whether it's, like, read a book or catch up on a TV show, or even just, like, stare blankly at the ceiling and just kind of, like, exist, you know. Putting it on paper is the easy part. I think that the hardest part for me was actually, which you may find is the hardest part for you, actually, like, dedicating yourself to it, like, actually doing what you say that you're going to do. But once I started doing that, just that, like, 2 hours a night really, I don't know how to explain it, but I guess, like, knowing that no matter how much work I had in front of me, there was going to be that stopping point every single day, it genuinely made me feel more comfortable with all of the work that I knew that I had to get done. And from that point on, I mean, maybe it's just a mindset thing. Maybe it's just a placebo. I don't know. But, you know, it worked for me. Try it out for yourself. And so that's what I started doing whenever my life got hellish in that way. And so that's what I did when I was made the executor of my grandfather's estate. Was I sat down and I put on paper what times I was going to take for myself. And when this first started, there was, like, a ton of work that I genuinely could not get done. So I was like, okay, you know, this Saturday I am not going to do anything. You know, I'm gonna go into work like I usually do on Monday, and after work I'm gonna, like, get started on, you know, all these finances and these assets and, you know, executing the estate as it would be. And then on Saturday, you know, I'm just gonna sleep in and I'm not gonna do anything. I even took off for the gym, which I know a lot of people are gonna be like, you shouldn't do that, Nikki, but I had to. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices for your own well-being. And in this instance, I was like, I can get back to the gym later. The gym's not going anywhere. I need to take care of myself. So sometimes it's even a matter of like looking at other things you have going on in your life and probably just saying that, I can't do this right now. I can't do this anymore. So I sat down and I put it on paper, and when Saturday rolled around, that's exactly what I did. Was I slept in and I took that day for myself. And it's really it is really hard to do that, because in the back of your head, there is always that idea of how much work you have to go into the next day. Sometimes it kind of feels almost like it's impossible to relax, like it's pointless to take that time off because you're not even relaxing. I think that it's not pointless, regardless of whether or not you feel that way, regardless of whether or not you feel like you can actually relax during that time. I think it's important that you still take that time, because that was one of the hurdles that I had to overcome when Beth had sat me down and told me, like, you need to start doing this. You need to take care of yourself. Like, I remember the first time I took that mandatory paid leave, all I could think about that entire time was like how much work I had sitting on the back burner, how many deadlines were supposed to be met, and all I could think about was I'm gonna have to work like twice as hard or 3 times as hard when I get back. And it's really hard to get over that mentality, but once I finally did and I was able to relax, this is something that I live by now. Taking that time for yourself, taking that time off to, not only get your personal life together, but to just not do anything productive. I've found that when I have these times in my life, whether it be only that 2 hours a day or that one Saturday here and there, that when I take that time to be as unproductive as possible, I am then much more productive when I come back. And so the last 4 weeks have been super hellish, but I was able to get through it. I was able to come out on the other end because I took that time for myself. They always say that life isn't about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard... No. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. And I genuinely feel that if you take that time to be unproductive and you take that time for yourself, I believe that you can get hit harder and harder each time. One of the things that Dragon Ball Z taught me was about the 3-legged stool, which is that it's this visual metaphor that your diet, your sleep, and your activity all need to be equally strong. Like, those are the 3 legs of your 3-legged stool. If one of those is weaker than the others, the whole stool is going to fall apart. And I always look at that one of those legs is about taking care of yourself, whether you're talking about your gym routine or you're just talking about your work routine, your life in general, your responsibilities. If you don't take that time, you're not going to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, right? You need to take that time off so that you can come back stronger and better and more productive. You can hustle harder if you take the time to just not hustle. So anyway, that's kind of it. I'm back to shooting videos for you guys again. We're going to try and be a lot more consistent now. Probably going to do a MetaZoo video here in about a week, try and get the new Digimon set, and I'm going to make some more videos where I show you guys some more cool cards. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for everyone who was patient during this time. That's it. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.